Beyond the Golden Gate Bridge awaits glorious Marin County, home to sweeping vistas, diverse cultures, and inspiring causes. Join us for Marinterviews, profiling people and projects, creating a meaningful impact in our community. Hi there, welcome back to Marinterviews, where we showcase people and nonprofits that are making a difference in Marin. I'm Sandra Riley Grimshaw, and I'm very proud today that we have as our guest Dr. Louise Melandra and also, help me out, Myron Jackson with Trips for Kids. And I'm just delighted to have you guys here.
Thank you. We're glad to be here.
Glad to be here.
So let's go with the nuts and bolts. Tell me everything about Trips for Kids. I know a year or so ago you got a grant from Giving Marin, and that's how we first met. And I'd love to know just a little bit more about the history of Trips for Kids and then how you came into it, and then we'll shift to your programs.
All right. Thank you. And thank you so much for inviting us.
So good to see you again.
We are an organization that's been around for about 34 years. The organization was started in 1988. Was that 36 years? Sorry about the math. And by Marilyn Price, who is still very, very much with us, thank goodness. And her organization, the organization was founded on her belief that all children should have access to nature, should have access to the outdoors, and should have unlimited access to what nature has to offer. And so we use the vehicle of the bike as a way of getting students away from outside of their neighborhoods and into the bigger world. It's a wonderful thought. She actually generated the idea. She was looking out, according to the story that I remember reading, she was biked up to Mount Tam and looked out over, which is an incredible view when you get to the top of Mount Tam,
Right.
and thought, I'd like to see kids up here. I'd like to see kids experience what I'm experiencing, the beauty of nature. And she started, I actually had a friend who taught at Mount Tam High School. He used to say that he'd see her VW with bikes on the top, and she'd
just cart people up
cart
there?
people. Well, she would load the bikes onto her beat up VW, and then she'd go around to schools and then, just ask, I guess, teachers and after school program directors and so on, would there be kids interested in going out into nature, going to Muir Woods, going up to Mount Tam and so on. And that's how it all started. And there's wonderful pictures of her going around in this vehicle, driving around Marin County. What's interesting is that we've expanded over the years, and we have several programs, which I know Myron, my colleague here, is going to speak about, focusing on one in particular. But the several programs emerged from that initial, just really out of the garage kind of startup that she had. Into programs now that service the whole Bay Area. So now we're known as Trips for Kids Bay Area. We serve, San Francisco, Alameda, Sonoma, and of course Marin. We are serving, I think, 25 new schools or agencies that are joining our program, particularly the Trail Rides program. That was probably the one that immediately emerged from Marilyn's driving around in her beat-up VW. And then it became really obvious that there were a lot of kids that didn't know how to ride a bike.
Right.
And so Jonathan Lavaji, a colleague of ours, started that program almost as many years ago. And I have observed his program. I've observed Trail Rides as well, but just for the moment about mobile. It's called the Mobile Program. It's just amazing to see kids learn how to ride.
So
and those
truly
first
from
moments.
the get-go, learn how to
Exactly.
ride, and then they
And then
can
taking
excel.
off. It's just amazing.
That's wonderful.
And so we supply the bikes and the helmets and treats.
And you guys hurt your back, not the parents.
Exactly.
I remember that was just the hardest thing. It's like, you teach the kid to ride the
Oh,
bike.
that's so true. And he's so patient.
Yeah.
And usually there are 10 classes, and he works, so currently he's working at 5 schools. 10 classes of formal curriculum that he walks the students through. And so that is kind of a snapshot of our mobile program. The Trail Rides program is, we've actually discussed it in earlier Marinterviews, but that's essentially, as I say, direct emergence from Maryland's program. So with the 25 agencies that we serve, and schools and agencies such as BACR, Bay Area Community Resources,
Oh, good. Okay.
Davidson Middle School, Arise High School in San Francisco, Arise Education Center, all throughout the Bay Area, as I mentioned. So kids that are sometimes in riding programs, cycling programs. Sometimes kids are just interested in hanging out with other kids and exploring the world around them. But there is a curriculum that's attached to that program as well. And that program, the curriculum is founded on next generation science standards, on physical education standards, social emotional learning standards. And so it's very comprehensive way to not only take kids out to enjoy nature, but to go into depth, to respect the world around them, to understand a sense of place. So we actually, of course, explore the world before we came, so the indigenous lands, and to respect the land before the way it was before we came. We talk about that in the curriculum as well.
There's a lot of education and activities. So there's a program during the school year, and then there's a summer camp
Yes,
program.
there is. And in fact, just this last year, our program manager, our education manager, Shane Belleville, started a summer camp. Had
good.
2 summer camps, very, very effective. And what
Shane
was,
is so awesome.
Oh, he's
That is-
amazing.
It
He's
must
amazing.
be great.
He had, as I say, the 2 summer camps, and he had many of the kids who came. You know how it is with summer program. You have kids with a kind of the defined and the intended age group, but then you have little brothers and sisters who sort of wander in, and that's what happened. And so it was so cute, and it was like each one teach one. So you had a wide, it wasn't exactly planned in each case, but a very wide range of ages. All
So
who wanted
some of
to
the
learn
older kids could almost
teach some of the
mentor
younger ones, exactly.
Oh, that's
Exactly. It was
terrific.
really sweet.
And that's
So
really good for their self-esteem
It
too.
really was. It really was. And so it was very successful, and he's going to repeat both of the camps, 2 camps again this summer. So
That's great to hear. And Myron, what keeps you busy?
Oh, well, my name is Myron. I am the manager of the Recyclery Bike Shop. So the Recyclery Bike Shop would be one of the departments of Trips for Kids. And what we do is we're emphasizing sustainability and access for bikes, right? So those who are maybe of lower income, or those who are just trying to save money, here's a way for us to get you a gently used bicycle, and you don't have to spend as much
That's great.
as when you go to some of the larger retailers. Because there's tons of great bike shops, in the area. We're
Bikes
in
are
Marin County.
expensive.
But
Yeah.
what makes us unique is we're going to be able to get you the quality bikes at a lower price. And these are bikes that come through donations, right? So
We can get the
majority of
word
what we
out that
get-
you accept donations of bikes and, I don't know, accessories, other things?
we do
I don't know.
bikes. So I always tell people we do everything that a normal bike shop would do, other than you can't buy food from us, right? So you're not gonna get you can't get Cliff Bars or Power Bars, but everything else, we do. We sell bikes, we sell bike accessories, clothing, shoes, additional parts, and then to a certain extent we do service bikes as well, which is another way to help people that can't always afford to
Right.
go into some of the bigger shops to get their bikes worked on.
Do some of the programs allow the kids to learn how to work on bikes? Service a
We
little
do
bit, or
too,
tune
yeah.
up? Or...
There are some. We have a shop intern program at the Recyclery,
Oh,
so
good.
we've been doing that the last couple of years. We bring in a group of high schoolers for 6 months, and they essentially become a part of the shop staff, learn the ins and outs. But we do also
That's
want to
great.
make it, a social and educational opportunity. So not even them just coming in for a job, but learning about the history of our organization and how we operate, but also learning some of the skills like professional communication and interpersonal skills alongside that. But they also do learn some basic bike maintenance while they're at the shop.
Gosh, any kind of tech education can carry them to whatever else they want to do. Do you have repeat students that come back, members?
They'll come back to visit, but we do for the intern program. It is just the one time, but they do come back and volunteer, which is great to see, and it's good to see them, come and visit and update us, on their
Well,
on
I
their progress.
feel like that's probably a family to them.
And then I always encourage them after they leave, if they need any type of recommendation or referral, I'm always happy to do that.
That's nice. That is good. So do you have fundraisers? Do you rely specifically on donations? How does the fun part work with Trips for Kids?
Do you want to speak about the Ginsberg Family Foundation for that
Sure,
internship?
sure, yeah. So for the internship program in particular, we do receive a grant from the Ginsberg family in honor of their son Jesse, who had passed away. So the way that works is that helps. So they do an award every year to
Okay.
help cover. Because one thing I forgot to mention about our
That's
intern
okay.
program is it's a paid internship program. So
Oh,
like I said, it's a
okay.
job. You punch in for a certain amount of hours, and you're paid hourly. So
So
some
they're
of
also
the-
learning responsibility.
Exactly, and that's one of the keys is just managing your time, using your time.
That's great.
Right. So, for example, you don't want to be late for work in general, but also if you're late for work, you lost some time, which means
Yeah.
you lost some money.
Oh, there's
But-
some really good skills
Yeah,
these
exactly.
students are getting. So you have a foundation. Are you looking? We've been talking about that as like a full-time job to look for other donations
Yeah,
and
so
grants.
that's one of the ways, but we also count on grants and other funding sources, and then with the recyclery, the profits that they make, those also go back into our program. So that's another way that the recyclery and what they do is important to the organization. Because there's also people who maybe aren't even still after all these years are not familiar with Trips for
Yeah,
Kids.
right.
And sometimes their first impression of Trips for Kids is coming into the recyclery, and then when they learn about our mission, that gets them more excited about shopping with us. They tell their friends. They're more inclined to donate or volunteer with us because we definitely need volunteers. We're managing a lot of resources coming in, so it is helpful to have people come in and support us in sorting, so cleaning, just all those things that help keep the shop running.
Right, absolutely. Do you have some, have you seen some examples, or can you cite any examples of certain growth with some of these members that you have, interns? Do you
The
see
interns,
development?
I will say, like, one of the main things, because like I said, it is a job. So
Yeah.
when they finish up, when they leave, I always give them an exit interview.
Yeah.
And the feedback that I see the most consistently is just how the experience with customers was so helpful, right? The opportunity to communicate with somebody, the opportunity to solve a problem, and how that's a confidence booster for them, Because
Absolutely.
we know with a lot of the younger people now that like that communication is a challenge. A lot of them are, they're used to this really limited form of communication, maybe
Well,
through
first
texting, maybe through, but not direct.
Exactly.
in person,
Looking
when you
people
look at
in the
someone
eye.
right,
Absolutely.
understand, even being mindful of body language and tone. You can't do that unless you're around people. So it's good to.
And they
to be able to
also,
help
there's
with
a
that.
certain age group, I'm sure, also the pandemic had a couple years there where they were isolated and now getting back out.
So
What
true.
I'm seeing then, just in certain business meetings I go to, people are just happy to be out
Yeah.
and about again, and they have a place to go. That must be, do you feel like some of them you're hearing that it's like a home away from home for them? Is it just a place they feel included?
Yeah, definitely. There's this isn't our intern program per se, but there's we take students from Oak Hill, which is a special needs school over in San Anselmo.
Oh,
And,
wonderful.
Yeah, and there's one student in particular named Jorge. We've been working with him a couple of years, and he comments about, and his teacher also comments about how he really feels like he's a part of the shop. And I told him, you don't have to feel like it. Like you are.
You are.
Here. You're with us. And it's good to be able to support him and help him also be in more, social opportunity, communication opportunities. Even it was his last day until he leaves for the summer. So
Aw.
I checked in with his teacher to make sure it was okay, and I said, hey, can we get him a little treat since it's his
Aw.
last day? We got him
Oh, nice.
some donuts, and I asked him like, hey, would you like donut? And
You
then
had
he
donuts,
kinda
you didn't call me?
next time. But he said, I'm gonna take this donut from you because I trust you.
Oh, that's,
And he obviously sometimes
That's
he
nice.
feels like he can't always do that, but he knows, when he comes to the shop, he has friends at the shop.
and now an increased self-esteem and a feeling of respect, and oh, that's just wonderful. So how else can we or the community help you? Donations?
Yeah, donations, either donate your time or donate your goods or donate money, shopping at the recyclery.
So that is open to the public. I can
Yeah,
go in
yeah,
there and look
that's a
for things.
public shop.
Okay.
Just
Okay,
just
that's
like any
great
other
to
shop.
know.
We're open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's Tuesday through Saturday, and then 10 to 4 on Sunday. We're closed on Monday, so you can come by and shop. You can come by and donate.
Great.
Anytime during regular business hours. We're over on 610 4th Street in downtown San
So
Francisco. We're
4th
right next to the
and-
freeway. 4th and Irwin is our,
Oh,
is our
okay.
closest cross
That's
street.
easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't have our own parking, unfortunately, so it would be, street parking, or there's a lot across from us
Yeah.
that you're able to
Oh,
use.
parking downtown is always fun.
Yeah.
Where are you gonna go? Well, that is great to hear. How did you find trips for kids?
I was recruited, more or less. I was working for Performance Bikes, which they're gone now, but they were the largest retailer,
Were
bike
they
retailer in the
down-
U.S.
they were
They
they-
were the ones that used to be in Montecito Plaza.
Oh,
but
right, right.
But they had locations
Yeah.
throughout the U.S.
Right.
Up and down the East Coast and the West Coast and the South. So they were definitely big. I think they had about 100 stores. But I think at the end of 2017, they asked me if I was interested, and I really liked what Trips for Kids had done. I'd volunteered with them in the past
Oh, that's
as a
great.
ride leader, and I really liked the mission, and so I was ready to get in there and help, just help the store grow. So it was good to do that. I think because when I got there, there was still some structure that was missing. So I think with me having more of a corporate,
It's kind of an ongoing thing, isn't it? The structure anywhere.
Yeah,
But you, because of the
because
other
I had more
job
of
you
a
had.
corporate background,
Oh,
right? So
wonderful.
it was like a system. So then I was able to bring some of that in. We just don't want to move too far away from, the fun of the
Right.
recyclery and what makes a recyclery unique. But there's opportunities to make things easier when you have certain systems into place. So that's what I was looking for there.
And what do you find rewarding for you at the trips
I
for
think
kids?
just the impact of people knowing that we have the shop that anybody can shop at, and it's not even that other shops necessarily exclude people, but the bike shop experience is intimidating.
Oh, absolutely.
For some people, for
Yeah.
new riders or maybe people that don't have a lot of money. Even back when I was at Performance, a lot of people would comment about how they liked the fact that we weren't talking down to anyone, in a lot of shops, especially when it comes to female riders. Sometimes shops can leave that bad impression. So we always just want to make sure that we're welcoming and treat it more, this is a teaching opportunity more than it's, a sales opportunity. So that's what's really valuable.
Yeah, because there's the whole getting the measurements the right way, and where, I remember being intimidated when I got my bike, and it was just, okay, what size should I really do? And, I decided I didn't want the old racing style,
Yeah,
and I wanted to be able
right,
to sit
be
up
more
and,
upright, yeah.
and, it is. It's like you're going in and you don't sometimes know the questions to ask.
And then even just sending the message that it's okay that you don't know, and we're going to help you. We're going to help you figure it out so that you can be more confident, can be more comfortable with your experience. Because the ideal is that you find a bike that you like, use that for a little while, and then you graduate to something nicer.
Right. Just like what we did with the kids. Absolutely. What is the most rewarding for you?
Having a great staff.
Yeah, you have
Seriously.
support for
Yeah,
all the work you
I
have to do.
I've worked, I've been around a few years, and I've worked for organizations probably a more global or national impact, but really very nerve-wracking, like nail-biting. And this organization, I can say, just in terms of my colleagues, there's a huge amount of respect. I think both ways. I respect each and every one of them and what they're doing to sustain the organization. And I hope I've conveyed to them that I mean that sincerely. And so part of that involves recognizing the work that they do in various ways. Food is a lot to me. It's always food in my family has always been love. So
Right.
a lot of the things we do are centered around food in terms of my respect for them and the work that they're doing. Wish we could take retreats to Palm Beach, but we can't afford it now. But I think, I hope that the staff knows through my weekly letters that I respect and appreciate the work that they do, the expertise that they bring, the professionalism, the mentorship in the case of Myron and his team, and in the case too of trail rides, the trail rides program in Mobile. I can't say enough. Myron has talked about the internship program. One of the things that I love about my team, our team, is that they're multi-talented. So it's not just, they're not simply mechanics, they're not simply ride leaders, but they also provide mentorship and leadership opportunities to youth. And I've observed that. I can still see pictures of Jonathan, for example, with his group of 10 kids at San Pedro, and they're riding around. They look up to him like he's a superstar because he respects them. They trust him. They know that he's not going to give them anything, that he has belief that they can achieve it and do it. And to that point, I know with Myron and some of the comments and his team that have come through on the exit interviews, one of the things that I remember so clearly is that they felt supported, and that they felt that the skills that they learned, they could take with them throughout their life. That was huge to me.
Well, that's absolutely.
So it was not just, okay, I learned how to do this and that. And, important, as Myron was suggesting, especially the interpersonal kind of contact and skills. But they realized the importance of what they were learning.
And I would think the parents, too. Are you getting feedbacks from the what age group, when you say youth program, what age group does it?
Well, like with the intern program, for example, that's high school. I will always share the story of I had one person apply. His name was Jeevan. He was actually in the 8th grade, but he submitted a resume that I thought was like very impressive. Where I
be considered for the program?
Yeah, where I was like,
sweet.
I think he's showing the maturity
Yes.
that
Yeah.
I think would be required to participate in this. So he did,
Right.
and he did well. So normally we are thinking high school. So say 14 to 18 is what we would typically be.
And then if
working
they
with.
have younger siblings and they can come in, you can keep them busy.
in certain circumstances, right, with the
For
the summer camp.
We actually did last summer. We were able to do like some crossover where I sent some of the shop interns to participate in the summer camp, in
Nice.
Shane's program, which was great. And it was great for them as the high schoolers to be able to interact with the elementary school kids, and then also be around a group of kids that they probably wouldn't normally get to be around, and they got to all ride together and interact.
Yeah, and also not just the same old friends. They get to be out and they get to meet new people. How do you get the word out to the schools for all your programs or to the community?
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination. We will put things out on social media.
Yeah.
There's some organizations where we've worked with them directly. So I've had students participate in the intern program where they had come from Youth Transforming Justice. So there was an advisor there where we interact through email. He might say, hey, I have a couple of students that are interested, in participating. But then we'll send the word out to schools, maybe to like the counselors or the office.
Do you have to go in and make presentations, or do you have enough materials that it kind of does the work for you? Just that you let them know we're an option for your summer activities.
Yeah, I would say on our end we're mostly using like flyers.
Yeah.
Would be the main, and just flyers that explain what's going on and when it's happening.
Good, because you do have a good active social media. What about some of the feedback you've gotten from parents?
Well, it's interesting because I have 2 parents who are on our advisory board, and they're one whose son served several years ago as part of the Trail Rides and the Earn a Bike program.
Okay.
And he's now in college. And another went through also the Trail Rides program. And both of them, because they're on the advisory board, they believe very much in our mission and have really appreciated the work that our team has done to support their kids through these programs. And so I would say, at least from what I've experienced directly from parents and read about in some of the anecdotal reports that are on part of social media, it's very, very positive. Do you have the same kind of experience? In terms
I've had the opportunity to meet some of the parents from the internship program, for example. So there was there was one student, his name was Max, and I would interact with his father, fairly often, because his father just wanted to make sure that Max was doing something
Yeah,
positive.
absolutely.
And, it goes back to, even just the understanding of having a job, because for Max, the driver was being able to make his own money, so he was
That's a good point.
He was a very active, participant, and his father appreciated just that there was some structure and some discipline involved
Right.
with going into the job every week.
Yeah, that's different than, working at the pretzel store in the mall.
That's
It's,
true. I can say one more thing too,
Sure.
just to build on what my colleague Myron is saying, and that is that as a teacher myself, one of the things that I think is wonderful about all of our programs is that each one has a message of challenging a child to do something either that they haven't done or that they can do better, and believing in themselves and that they can. So from learning how to ride to going into an area that's unfamiliar to them in nature, challenging themselves perhaps to go further on a bike, 7 miles round trip. That's quite a stretch for a lot of kids.
That is.
Challenging themselves to work with customers that sometimes can be challenging, such as some of the interns. Many of the, you don't know who's going to come into the recyclery
Working
sometimes.
with the public is
and
a
knowing
good
how
skill.
to navigate that.
Absolutely.
And
oh,
so
wow.
it's, and as I say, having been a teacher where there's such defined rules and prescriptions, as there should be in many cases in a traditional classroom, this gives kids the freedom really to not be tethered to those kinds of constraints.
Yeah.
And to really be free to do something that they, as I say, that they've perhaps never done before, to learn and grow, to be with other kids, some of whom they haven't met, not to deal with social media, the constraints there.
Absolutely.
And so it's a very liberating experience for many of these kids. And not to have those kinds of constraints, and so we're lucky in that we can present that to kids, unlike a more traditional classroom setting, for example. So.
Isn't it such a rock and a hard place, because the social media is so wonderful to get your, I need to get our word out, to get the word out about what you're doing, and yet you just want to slap it away from the, and it's not just the kids' focus. It's, I've got adult friends. I say, put your darn phone down. We're having dinner.
Well, that's true. I think with the intern program, and Myron, you can build on this if you like, but they're not on screens. They don't have time to be on their cell phone.
Doing something else with their hands.
Time, yeah, of course. But
doing something else with their hands.
Because it's all about balance,
Yeah,
That's why
true.
there's, with the intern program, this is why they learn a combination of the work skills and life skills, and they call them hard skills and soft skills. But
Oh, that's nice.
it's never
I like
about
that.
it's
Yeah.
never about one or the other. It's about
balance.
having a combination and utilizing the strong points of each.
When you go out to China Camp, do you work with our friends out there, Friends of China Camp? Do they know about you and the trip? Yeah.
We do.
I love that.
They're great
program.
people out there.
Yeah.
In fact, we have one of our staff, one of our colleagues is also working out there part-time. But they've been wonderful to us, and many of our trips have been out to China Camp with our kids. So
Yes, I love that program. We've interviewed Martin here, and we love that whole, it's such a gem for our community. So, but I really want to thank you so much
Thank you
for updating us on what you're doing. It's really great to meet you, and always good to see you again.
Same. Thank you, Sandra.
All right, and that wraps up another Marinterviews. Please feel free to contact me if you know of a interesting person, a trailblazer, or another nonprofit in the community making a difference. We'll see you next time.
Marinterviews, produced in partnership with Marin Arts, Marin Link, Truce, and D2ISF. Please join us on our mission. Nominate a person or program to be profiled either in studio, location, or Zoom. Sponsor a segment. We look forward to working with you.